It's an exciting Tuesday afternoon. We are here once again to take a look at issues that they emanate from the international scene. Yes, in the program International Forum, I am Wilson Marshall. Today, it's all about what is happening in the UK. Yeah, Brexit. What next for UK and the EU? That is going to be one of our discussions today. Then we'll take a look at an update on what is happening in Trump's impeachment. Lots and lots of things are ongoing right now, and pundits are watching to see if history will be made or if history is going to repeat itself. When we talk about history repeating itself, you get to remember the case of Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Well, if you're not giving back to in the 90s, just go back to your history. Just Google Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. You get to see the story there. It led to an uproar in the United States of America, where Clinton was impeached also by the House of Representatives, but he was spared by the Senate. Is it going to be like that for Donald Trump? Well, my analysts will be the one to throw more light on that. We'll talk about these two topics. Let's take a look at some stories making rounds globally. Coronavirus, yeah, sending jitters down the spine of so many nations. And China, from the Wuhan province, they were the ones that was first hit and worst hit for now. And of course, the first death case has been recorded outside China in the Philippines. All right, China admits shortcomings and deficiencies in tackling coronavirus. That is the confession they are making right now. But you must give it to the Chinese. Within 57 days, they were able to build a new hospital to, cater for the infected, cater for the dying. I mean, 57 days to raise an edifice of some sort to take care of this deadly disease. And people are like asking, how did they do it? Or are they aware of the impending dangers? Because people from nowhere started coming up. Before know it again, a hospital, I mean, it's not a makeshift hospital. A hospital, world-class hospital, research center built within 57 days to show the advancement in technology. And the hospital is still standing, and that's where they are working, trying to find a cure. Well, many countries are choosing to beef up health security, and of course, Nigeria, according to our Minister of Health, so we can tackle coronavirus. My prayer is that it doesn't get close to us. Look, prevention, they say, is better than cure. So everyone just take care of your borders, okay? In the US, they have their own case of coronavirus. In Australia, in the Philippines, just name it. Quite scary. So follow normal hygienic procedure. If you want to sneeze, please cover your nose. Don't stay close to someone that is sweaty, you're catching cold or showing symptoms of flu. You have to protect yourself. If you see any case also that you are suspicious of, you just go to the nearest health center and make a report. Now let's move straight down to Kenya. Kenya right now, they are in mourning. Why? A former president of Kenya, the president of David, is dead. Yeah, David Moore. And he is greatly missed by the people because he was the one that laid the foundation in which the Kenyattas are now building on. He is a diplomatic leader. He is a man of the people. He chooses to come down to their level. He chooses to make sure that whatever it is that is bedeviling other countries in the Eastern Bloc in Africa doesn't really get to them. Though he was there for quite a long time in power, but he was still able to relinquish power when the time was right for him to do so, according to him. Yes, he was involved also in war. Before the breakout, before the independence, before democracy, there are so many turbulence. He was first a military ruler, almost likened to a dictator by some, but he turned a new leaf, so to speak. And we're going to talk more about this man in Africa Discourse and why he's greatly missed, from military personnel to Democrats. Yeah, when I mean Democrats, I mean democracy. Yeah, he was the one that really started it in Kenya. After being a warrior, he chose to drop the khaki and, you know, put on the suit. In our own case, you get to hear he put on the agbada, but in their own case, it's the suit that they put on. He was aged 95 before he kicked the bucket. He'll be remembered for so many things. You really want to know more about him? By God's grace, next week, Monday, on Africa Discourse, we're going to talk more about, Daniel Angromoy, one-time strong man in Kenya. We want to go for a short break. When we return, we're going to start off with the updates in Trump's impeachment, after which we'll talk about Brexit. What's next for UK and EU? Stay tuned.
Love is beautiful whenever I'm with you. What a time to be alive.
Another season of love and romance is here with us.
Baby, say you there for me. I there for you.
Come, enjoy this Valentine's special season at Independent Television and Radio's Couples Classic.
I'm beginning to fall in love.
Love has never been this beautiful. Show that special one in your life how much they mean to you. Come, discover exciting ways to rekindle your love and strengthen your bond.
ITV and Radio's Couples Classic is an opportunity to make the Valentine's Day as memorable as possible. Date is Friday, 14th February 2020. Venue, Prestige Hotel and Suite, number 1 Ihama Road, GRA, Benin City.
Regular tickets, 10,000 naira per couple. Table for 4, 100,000 naira. Tickets available at ITV Glass House, Airport Road, Benin City. This program is sponsored by KC Devices All-in-One Phone Shop. Sales of phone, laptop, CCTV, inverter, smartwatch, and accessories. Located at 68 Airport Road, before Akenzwa Junction, Benin City. And Shop 68, Bobizwa Complex, opposite Urban Market, Ring Road, Benin City, Edo State. KC Devices, customer satisfaction is our commitment.
Edo Geographic Information System, Edo GIS, 102 Sapler Road, Benin City, for your certificate of occupancy. Chairman on the occasion, Chief Barrister Felix Imoisili, former two-time Chairman, Igweben Local Government Council, and Edo State PDP Chairmanship candidate.
Special guest of honor, Barrister Ken Imaswagbon, also known as the Rice Man, former Edo State governorship aspirant. Apostle Dr. Dixon Agbonwanite, General Overseer, Christ Mission Ministries, 6 Okumbowa Street, off Nomayo, Upper Sokmumba Road, Benin City.
Dr. Patrick Okundia, consultant, ear, nose, throat, head, and neck surgeon, and Honorable Commissioner for Health, Edo State. Honorable Nosayaba Okumbo, member representing Orion East Constituency, Edo State House of Assembly.
Osae Matthias Obayuwana, Esquire, Benin-based legal practitioner, principal counsel, and head of chambers of Nosawema Chambers. Patriot Patrick Osage Iholo, president and founder, One Love Foundation, and observer general of democracy. Honorable Patrick Agbonkong, MD, CEO, Kankan Next Farm Nigeria Limited, and founder, Patrick Agbonkong People's Initiative, PAPI.
This event is supported by Ita Dave Automobile Service for oven spraying, auto body filler, and panel beating. Number 1 Oyakilome Avenue off Ozolua Street, the road after Awando Filling Station, Ekenwa Road, Benin City.
Final Eyes, Ice Cream and Lounge, 2 Ara Crescent, off Stadium Road, Ekenwa Road, Benin City. Telephone 0706 151 2333 or 0816 736 2842. Fino Eyes, tasty treats.
This year's edition promises to bring a fresh spark to your connection with several love games lined up, all for you.
ITV Radio Couples Classic.
Fire up your love life.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to International Forum. Mind you, you can follow us on our Twitter handle at ITV Radio NG or on my own personal Twitter handle at Marshall Wilson. We can get interactive, get talking, and of course, when you log up to our YouTube channel, get to see all our current affairs program. International Forum inclusive. Now let's take a look at what is really happening in America. Before that, let me introduce my guest. I have a legal practitioner. When we talk about international affairs, he's well-grounded. Join me to welcome Barrister Osazuwa Osanho. Barrister, welcome to the show.
It is always my pleasure.
I appreciate your coming.
Thanks for having me.
And Happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
And of course, Alex, a very vibrant young man. He just became a doc. I don't mean doc as in PhDs, so to speak. Alex, welcome to the show International Forum. I appreciate your comment. Congratulations on your doctorate award. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, let's put the show on the road. Trump's impeachment matters arising. There seems to be some twist and some turns in the House. When you talk about the House, I'm talking about the Senate. From your own analysis, from your own angle as a political analyst of international crime, how do you feel about this? The way things are going in the Senate?
Yeah, thank you very much. Looking at the turn of events in the United States today, it is quite sad. Sad in this fact that the level of partisanship has never been this high. The level of our own against their own. Everybody is coming from a side. Everybody is coming from preconceived notions. Before you get to where the ball is, you already have something at the back of your mind. No matter the impression, no matter the evidence that comes, no matter what is thrown at you, the light that is flooded at you, you have already made up your mind. So that's what the Senate trial and even the impeachment itself from the House has been about. Everybody is coming from a preconceived position. You have made up your mind even before you are seized by the facts. You have told yourself, no matter the level or no matter the weight of evidence that is adduced, you have already made up your mind have an issue, either to accept or to reject. So that's what the trial has been. One would have thought that a democracy such as that of the United States of America has grown to an appreciable level, where reason, where people could be detached while assessing or making judgments, where they could just approach issues wholeheartedly and then get informed by the level of what they have learned. But that's not it today. The Democrats are just at one extreme end, and on the other extreme end, we have the Republicans. Nobody's breaking ranks, except a few, maybe like Rooney and Alexander Lama, who also stood on the fence, while admitting that the president made a call that was not right, that what the president did was absolutely wrong. Yet he said it was not, that even though it is impeachable, so to speak, but that they should just leave the decision to the American voters to make. That that election was so weighty to just remove the president like that the people should decide if what Trump has done was bad, or if they can, they should leave the decision to the people. But one would have thought, if you look at an issue such as that, you say, what has it done? Is it an impeachable offense? If it is it then you go to the next level? Should it be removed based on this? You also make such decisions. But what we saw, both the Republicans and the Democrats, they came from an angle. They came from a preconceived notion. They already made up their mind. The Democrats was mainly removed. The Republicans saying, no matter what we hear, no matter what we say, no matter what evidence you adduce, we are standing by our man. And that's what pretty played at. And it's not something that is salabrous.
All right.
It's not something that should be welcomed. Because growing up, we have these lofty ideas about the United States of America, about their democracy, about the way they approach issues. Lofty ideas and respect for them. But we are beginning to see that we are not too different from, they are not too different from us. Their politics as messy and as dirty as us. That's just it.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Osazuwa Osahawa. The video you just saw was when Donald Trump was impeached by the House of Representatives. Okay, so he's not been impeached by the Senate. He's still on, but there are issues arising. So, Dr. Alex, so tell me, what do you feel about this?
Okay, politics is similar everywhere. This same issue played out during the Clinton era. It was impeached by the House, but the Democrats, with the majority of the Senate, saved him from, the embarrassment in court. I think American democracy has a lot to learn from us.
Not to learn from our Nigerian democracy.
Yes, our Nigerian democracy. Not in terms of how unfair, not free and fair our elections could be, but in nature. The college system of voting in the US give rise sometimes to candidates who are not popular. Because when you check the US elections, sometimes the popular candidate doesn't win. You have what we call the popular votes and the votes that is by delegates. So that alone, you can have a leader who the people in quotes did not vote for. There's also the rise of populism all over the world, and Trump understands that atmosphere around this country now and is playing on that sentiment, you know. Then I would also like to add the speed at which the current members, you know, it wasn't as, you know, if you listen to the complaint of the senators, they said that you are now asking for more witness, more evidence, and you didn't take out time to consider all these witnesses that you are now insisting. That is to say, ab initio, the impeachment was rushed and was unfair. Now you are insisting the Senate, you are trying to play to the gallery, you are insisting the Senate should consider all other issues that you would have considered. You know, that's the way it should be. You should do a thorough job before moving to the other part of the House. Not coming to this part of the House, because when we look at all the evidence that were adduced by mostly the Democrats part of they were not thorough enough, and they were not enough reason for a president to be impeached. So I see a lot of party politics being played, especially considering the fact that the elections in the US are very close as well.
All right, a lot of party politics being played because of the closeness of the US election. I would like us to leave it at that because matters are still unfolding, matters are still arising. The Senate, each one is talking from a party perspective. That is what Pundit is saying, because it's like everyone chooses to, almost everyone, yes, not all of them, most of them choose to throw reasons through the window, and they are sticking to party loyalty. Is that really healthy for American democracy? Only time will tell. Let's see what the Senate will come up with, if the president should remain or he should exit. Yeah, like Brexit from the EU. All right, now let's talk about Brexit. Yes, he made a promise. People are like thinking that it is not possible. Theresa May did her best, but she couldn't broker a deal. Because she failed, so to speak, she chose to resign. David Cameron before Theresa May was like, I'm not in for Brexit. Now, when they went out there to vote, according to the votes and the voters, it was like Brexit is what they are looking forward to. Due to that, he chose to resign, saying he's not for Brexit, he's not supporter of Brexit, and he humbly, as a gentleman that he is, stepped down. Theresa May took over. The same thing happened, and here comes Boris Johnson. People are thinking that this man is a joker, that he just can't do what Cameron failed to do, Theresa May failed to do, but here we stand. He has done it. Barrister, take it up from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know if it's possible, if you permit me to just say something about the Clinton impeachment before we
Sure,
explain.
well, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Yes, there are two things that are key, because we have heard this argument raised over and over a time that it was rushed in the House. The House could not but rush in quotes. If you look at the Clinton impeachment, there was a body of work that took months and even years. That was the Kenneth Starr report, which formed the basics of the impeachment of Clinton. Yeah. But now, they don't have that. That's one. Secondly, and most importantly, they are saying they are not looking for witnesses. These are the same witnesses that could have been called in the House. But why were they not called? The reason they were not called formed the second article of impeachment, obstruction of justice. The guys stonewalled all their subpoenas. It stated categorically and told everybody who cared to listen that nobody who has worked with him, either working now or worked before, should go. He said he had authority, presidential powers, that he enjoyed that privileges and he wanted to assert it to the fullest. And he couldn't come. People that brought in who could have come then didn't come, even when he was subpoenaed. Now he's saying he wants to come. So that's that. So it was clear and it was glaring, and there was not, and they didn't have something to work with except what they raised themselves, and it was not sufficient. Hence, they just went through it, hoping when they come to the Senate, they might get a better deal. But they didn't. Now talking about Boris Johnson.
Yeah, Brexit.
Yes, Johnson reminds me very much of Trump. nobody took him serious. Nobody saw him coming. People didn't think he could do it. I was one of those persons who thought that given what was happening, given what was on ground, that Brexit was almost an impossibility. But here we are. He has done it. Even though he has done it theoretically, only in words. Even as we speak today, Britain is even more under the control of Brussels than 2 weeks ago. That's the fact. Because 2 weeks ago, they had parliamentarians speaking for them in Brussels. But today, they don't. Yet, the laws that are made in Brussels as we speak today, and possibly for the next 2 months, will still be operational in UK. So that's that. But of course, there's a timeline. They have the waiting period, which we take about, it should be in the month, but they have another year. It will also be extended for another year. That's that. But what we have saw is statesmanship. Somebody hammering on something. Get Brexit done. Let's put this Brexit nightmare behind us, whether for ill or for good. Or to quote him, let's get it done, do or die. And because it resonated with the Harvard written on the streets, they saw it. And for the Labour, they were neither here nor there. They were neither for Brexit nor for Remain. Nobody knew where they stood. And uncertainty is not good for business. The West runs on the engines of capitalism. And certainty and direction is good for capitalism. Of course, everybody knew where the Conservative, where they stood. They wanted to get Brexit done. Whether they do it perfectly or imperfectly, like I just mentioned, that they are still being ruled by Brussels now, even when they have lost. But you wake up and say, even just notionally, that yes, they have done it. And a process has started. Even though it is imperfect now, they are moving towards perfection. Right. And for that, I give Boris Johnson a big kudos.
A big kudos. Okay, Alex, do you feel different from his own opinions?
Like I said, it's just that started, but they still have a long way to go. And this is just the beginning. How they negotiate a wonderful trade deal and other deals after this official leaving the EU matters most than actually leaving the EU. It's not just about that. I also have never been a fan of the European Union as it is presently constituted. And that was one of the big issues that the UK had. You remember when the UK joined it wasn't the European Union then, it was the European Economic Commission. Like what Nico Farage said, we joined an economic cooperation that would promote free trade and other things that would help. We didn't join a political union. And so over the years, some countries became quite uncomfortable because of the overbearing influence of the European Union. It, in a way, started to impinge on their sovereignty. You know, it was as if that they started to lose their powers. And then things like super states, you know, within the group, you would have 1, 2, 3 states who are actually really calling the shots, you know, giving the direction. And Nico Ferrari said, you have European Commission, European Parliament, you have an European auditors, you have an European High Court of Justice interfering with local matters, you know. And of course, the average British man is proud, you know, it doesn't like to be controlled. And this was what Charles de Gaulle saw. Because the first 2 attempts the UK had made to join the European Union was vetoed by Charles de Gaulle because who was then the French president. He said that the UK will never be compatible with the European Union. He saw these traits as a prophet long time ago. He saw all these traits, and they have come to reality in our own time. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but the negotiation afterwards, in order to have a wonderful deal that would work for the UK in the long run, is what is most paramount now.
A wonderful deal that will work for the UK in the long run. Okay, I will just pause you there for a while because I'll still call on you to talk some more on really talking about this deal. Now, you were among the persons, according to your own statement, I didn't give it to Boris Johnson to make this dream into reality, but he has done it. And you talked about Brussels is still very much in charge of what is happening in the UK until a specified period of time. Now, there are some pundits which states that the agreement on the ground that allowed Brexit to happen was not fully adhered to. Do you see a backlash?
Brexit, for all practical purposes, is a done deal. They have embarked on a course, they have embarked on a journey, and they will go through it. They will have to go through it, loving it or hating it. They have made their choice. They are either getting it done or die trying getting it done. But then, you reach a certain place, and you tell yourself, this is what I want to do. And before you tell yourself that, you also have seen that there will be challenges, not just ordinary challenges, very weighty challenges, because you are trying a divorce proceeding that has eaten into the fabric of your everyday life. Your own daily quotidian life is tied to it. So much so that even the size of your bread is determined from bruises. It was that bad. So in a single day, those things are not just going to go away. It will take negotiations. It will take treaties after treaties. It will take treaties that will linger into the night. Because these things are so comprehensive. The United Kingdom will have to make unilateral treaties with almost virtually all the countries of the world, over 100, almost 200 countries. And these things will take time. Again, almost half of their trading today is with the European Union. And common sense dictates that when it comes to those regulations, when it comes to the laws that we regulate and governs those transactions between the United Kingdom now and the European Union, common sense dictates that the stronger, the laws operational within the stronger and larger entity, we also, by virtue of necessity, regulate the lesser one. Because the European Union, as we speak today, is about 6 times larger than the economy of the United Kingdom. So if now you want to trade with them, and about half your trade is with these persons, I don't like the conditions that are prevalent in that places, and you approve that, now you want to still continue trading with them, which of course you have to, because it is your biggest trading partner by far. So you think you want to make laws for the larger entities, you want to say, yes, I want to trade with you from now, I don't want to be part of you again. I just like it, I will just trade. No political affiliations, no political union, I want to trade with you. And if you want to trade with them on your own terms, like Johnson wants to believe, they can railroad and twist Europe into trading with them on its own terms. I don't know, he will have to do that again and end my accolade. I'm waiting for him.
All right, fine. It's like you say you're waiting for him. EU, like I say, also they are waiting for them to come to business with the EU. Now, the EU is affecting the economy of UK negatively, because all about the pounds, power of the pounds. Even when they were with the EU, the pounds is stronger than the euro. Do you see it happening now?
Yes, it has already started happening. Like we said, business and the economy does not like uncertainty. It has already started happening. And of course, there are other many reasons. Number one, like you said, the fact that the EU makes up a large percentage of who the UK trades with. Number two, there are a lot of migrant workers, because, you know, part of the deals being part of the European Union means that workers can move freely within the member countries. There are about 3 million non-UK workers who are contributing massively to the economy of the UK. In fact, the European workers in the UK contributing to the economy are far more than the UK workers outside the UK that are contributing to other economies. Also in the future, it means that young British workers who would not be able to leave their countries and work anywhere around the European Union. It will also mean that for some certain jobs, for example, you know, there are some certain jobs that people outside the UK, members of the European Union, are ready to take at a lower price, for a lower pay. It means that these jobs will now be available only to British citizens, and the companies would have to raise the wage in order for the British citizens to find it appealing. Also, there's also the part where, you know, the US and the UK have this long-term partnership for a very long time, and the UK was always more like an entry point for the US to the European Union. And so you could say right now that the UK is no longer useful to them in that regard. So they are going to find another. Then also there's also the issue of if you look at the votes, you know, Britain is made up of England, Wales, Scotland, then because the UK is made up of Britain and Northern Ireland. If you look at the votes, you will see that Scotland and Northern Ireland voted to remain. But because of the large population of England, that vote did not reflect. It therefore means that there is going to be an increased agitation on the part of Scotland for independence. That is also going to be another political problem, because the economy is a product of politics. So if it affects that, it would also affect the economy. And also so many other things. So we are expecting a slow growth for the foreseeable future. That is just very obvious.
Now, slow growth for the United Kingdom that used to pull out. Now, he talked about Scotland and Wales. If you take a look at the clip, you get to see some people saying Scotland, they have the right to choose. Some of them say we are not going to leave the EU, the Scottish personalities or the citizens from Scotland. Do you see this generating tension? Though he talked about Scotland fighting for their independence. This is happening to destabilize the union, you know, call them three lions.
There is already a call for a second referendum. Not the second referendum of BREXIT, on the Scotland independence, because they had one and they chose to remain within the United Kingdom, because in their own reading, the United Kingdom will remain in the European Union. Now that the United Kingdom has left the European Union, so they're not saying, let us vote. We voted to remain within the United Kingdom because of our conception that the United Kingdom will remain within the European Union. Now they want to leave. Do you also know that over 70% of people in Scotland voted to remain in the United Kingdom during the in the European Union during the Brexit vote? Over 70%, which was larger than that for England, which was about 53 to 47 for England itself. So that shows that each and every Scotsman wants to remain, a sizable and overwhelming majority of Scots want to remain within the European Union, because there is so much to gain there, being a member of the European Union than being a subservient part of the United Kingdom. Listen, it is great wisdom. Now I begin to understand why the framers of the United States Declaration of Independence, what is his name now? When he talked about that mankind are more disposed to suffer, why evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. What he was saying there is that, look, there are some evils that you might choose to suffer, because in your thinking they are sufferable, than to not right yourself to become just by leaving that political union to which you are accustomed. He was trying to lay the framework for why it became imperative for the US then to leave the United Kingdom, England then. Because they have seen it, that sometimes it will disrupt your whole life. Life as you have known it before then will be uprooted, totally changed. That is what has happened, not just to England, but to Scotland and most importantly, Northern Ireland. Because Ireland itself is part of the European Union even as we speak. And the reason why there was peace, why there is still peace in Northern Ireland today, is because of the Good Friday Agreement, that there will be a seamless, that the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland will be invisible, that there will be free movement. Now, today we have Northern Ireland now being part of the United Kingdom and Ireland now being part of the European Union. What now happens to the border? So there are so many challenges to come, so numerous challenges to come, even to etching at a trade deal that will be both palatable to Brussels and London is almost an impossibility as we sit here today. But we'll wait and see how it's going to play up. They're going to pay a huge price for leaving the European Union. The price is going to be so huge that they will think. You know, the former Prime Minister James Cameron, who called the vote, I don't know what he was thinking. He thought it was a political gambit to remain in power. And said, okay, let's just, he called it. And then he opened the Pandora box. Nobody knows where this will lead. But I can see challenges ahead. I can see in the next 15 years, they will still be trying to make these and reach agreement on this divorce proceeding. I have seen that.
Do you agree with him? Talked about challenges ahead for the United Kingdom. How do you see Boris Johnson helping the UK to overcome this challenge? After all, he said that Boris reminds him of Donald Trump.
Okay, like I said, Nigel Farage, one of the proponents of Brexit, said we in the UK, we love Europe, but we don't like the European Union. The European Union, as it's presently constituted, is what I think most British people are not very comfortable with. There was a problem of immigrations. They also had a problem the way they handled the Greece debt crisis. There was an issue of terrorism. There was the fear of jobs, being taken by immigrants and all that. But my big problem with the European Union is, there's this saying I always like to say that if the European Union was a country, the European Union would not allow the European Union to be part of the European Union. What am I saying? That the structure of the EU gives certain conditions for member countries. Among those conditions is democracy, rule of law, human rights, and equity. But the structure of the European Union is not democratic. So it's like the conditions for entering the EU is far different from the operational mechanisms of the EU.
Are you supporting the EU right now?
Kind of. So I see there's this unnecessary overbearing attitude of the organization, and I tell you, a lot of states under the EU are not necessarily happy, but they do not have the capacity and the capability of the UK to pull out. So it's going to come with a lot of pains, but in the long run, there's nothing sweeter than freedom.
In the long run, nothing sweeter than freedom. Now, he fought at the EU, talking about the politics that is going on in the EU, talking about the operation in the EU not so suitable for member states. How do you view his statement?
Yes, you see, the kingdom of God, it is said, is not not yet. Yes, there's no such thing like a perfect union. We all strive towards perfection. Every organization, the larger it becomes, the more problematic its operation. It is often said that the devil is in details. When you become big, when you now look at the nitty-gritties, you face challenges. And these things are given. And London should have seen it coming. For you to wield power to cover such expanse of land, you have to take certain powers from the regions, from the locals. That's what happened. But the average Briton, being the person he is proud. He thinks he's a threefold better than the rest of us. He thinks he's more enlightened. He thinks he just is very emotional about his place. They think that the first and the best of the rest. So they have always thought that way. They have always thought, and they still think that. And these are the same persons who are not comfortable. Whether you like it or not, globalization is something that's come to stay. The world will continue to shrink. The years of my protecting your borders, thinking you are better than this is the place where God is, and this is it. It's a thinking, it's a mindset, it's so common amongst the average white person. That does it. They tell you they want to take back their borders. They tell you they want to control people who comes in and those who go out. They tell you that they're no more comfortable. They are looking up and they see one Arab guy or one black guy walk down the street, and it makes them uncomfortable. And they ask yourself, what are you doing there? Like what happened some few months ago when that woman was when she went to get something at the mall, and the man, she was just saying, give me this. The man didn't just, the person who was saying he didn't want to give it. He said, very soon when Brexit is done, we won't see people like you again around there. So that's the way they think. So it is that animals inside that has prepared and still keep propelling Brexit. that look, we don't want, we see too much foreigners. We want to be the way we were like 100 years ago. No, the world has changed. 100 years ago or 20 years ago, movement was not that easy. Now you can wake up today in Lagos and by noon you are somewhere in Frankfurt, and in the evening you are somewhere in Dubai. So that's how the world has become. So people are moving, and they have to move. But this thing has made certain persons uncomfortable. And Brexit is a species of that thinking. And Trump too is a species of that thinking. That's the truth.
You keep liking these two personalities, Boris and Trump. It's like your own painting right now, your own image. They are made of the same fiber.
It's a movement. Wow. It's a thought pattern. The way some people perceive the world. That is the spirit behind Brexit.
Okay.
That is the spirit behind populism today in the West. Because they are not comfortable with what the arrangement. They think immigration is a big issue. And yet they forgot that those places, that Paris as it stands today, that London as it is today was built on the sweat of foreigners, slavery, colonialism. When they were going out to take those lands, to conquer and to lead and to rule and to civilize, in quote, all those places, it was okay. Because they were able to appropriate directly the wealth of those places. But now it has changed, and they don't want to see the inhabitants, the grandchildren of those persons who slaved and built their cities for them and built their economy for them. That's the thinking, my brother, and it's so painful.
It's so painful, according to Barrister Osazuwa. Now you talk about member states and, of course, the working mechanism of the EU with the agitation of Brexit. Talking about the UK standing alone, Britain standing alone, do you see other component members following suit as in want to exit the European Union? Alex?
I necessarily don't, but I see that in the future they will try, and even if they don't leave completely, they will try to negotiate a kind of deal that would make them a little bit freer. As it stands now, for the UK, I would say the world is their oyster. They are now open to make deals whichever way they want, with whoever and however. And that could also be a plus in the long run. That's the truth. There's always this air of uncertainty when you, for an organization that you have been with for close to 50 years. It is expected. It's like divorce in a normal marriage. You've gotten so used to the man. But the UK keep insisting that what we joined as at 1973 was an economic cooperation. How the economic cooperation has metamorphosized into a political union where you start to have cost of justice, this and that, that and that, and you have you are having parliamentarians and European Commission ministers that were not voted for by your people, deciding for your people. Is that not already against democracy? It's like,
but they agree to it.
That's what I'm saying. But in the long run, it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's a local population. Let's say ECOWAS becomes that powerful for the African Union, and you're in Nigeria, and some people far off are deciding some very critical issues that concerns you. It's a source of worry. So my own opinion is that the European Union should arrange this mechanism in such a way that the independence and the sovereignty of the member states is not sacrificed. Let it still sound like the people have a choice in the way they are being governed.
So for what you say, they don't have a choice in the way they've been governed. Is that what you're saying right now for the past 50 years or thereabouts?
It has been reduced drastically, and the rate at which the European Union is going, it is going to reduce even further. You even see the Greece debt crisis, how some super states, France and Germany, we are busy deciding on very important matters. Sometimes what is happening in the European Union is that some certain people are calling the shots. That's why I said that if the European Union was a country, it will not be allowed, it will not be admitted into the European Union. Because part of the requirement of the European Union is democracy.
Wow. Now, was that what Boris saw and Theresa May saw, talking about trampling on their right, their sovereignty as a nation? Was that really what propelled them to leave the European Union? Because it just threw more light on that. Talking about some very few persons calling the shots, and the UK or Britain is not among the key players in the EU.
It's not.
Yes, thank you. Let me quickly say this now. Firstly, I don't know if my colleague here, I don't know, but you should know. The European Parliament, the parliamentarians in the European Parliament that are sent there are sent there by the people. It's not that when you just go, you are in Brussels, you just vanish and you find yourself in Brussels. No. There are local elections. You sent and Nick Farage and that's how they go to Europe. They did the election, voted for them in their own constituencies. They send them straight to Brussels. Yes, it's not that they just maybe someone in Berlin. You just pick somebody he likes in UK, say come on. No, your people. That's how it is. So I don't know the issue of the people not having a say. I don't know what say could be more than that when you vote your parliamentarian to go to Brussels to talk for you.
They don't have a strong voice in parliament.
Let me tell you the issue. I know where my colleagues. The main issue is that when they started this thing, they never thought it would become all-encompassing. That yes, we want to trade, we want to do this. They never thought it will affect things as simple, like I said before, at the size. I'm very serious about the size of the bread. About fishing, local fishing, how you fish in the little river in your back. They never saw it coming. That people will not be legislating from you from Brussels on how you catch the kind of fish you catch, the kind of trawl and the boat you take to go and fish. It became as serious as that, and it got people worried that this monster has grown too big. That look,
a monster or a savior.
that really signed up for this.
Yeah.
That what we are getting is far more than we thought we were entering. That when we enter this union, we thought it would be as limited as possible. That now you are just everything just coming from Brussels, and it even become more, so. One of the most painful part is that you cannot even you lose. What makes government is what they call territorial integrity. Yes, now you are no longer even in charge of your borders, so to speak. You are no longer the time. People are not telling you who will enter your country, not from London but from Brussels. They make regulations there that will just work for everybody. So those were part of the issues. Like I said, that the devil is always in the details. It's only the little things that really got them upset. It's not the big things. The big things, they saw it coming. That look, we are going to give away some powers, some rights to Brussels. They saw it coming. It's just like the 13 states colonies in the US. When they were entering, said to form a more perfect union. The union wasn't perfect, to form a more. And even today, it's still not perfect. They are still striving towards that perfection. That's why they now agree that Washington should supersede everybody. So there are some certain rights they gave out. And it was never going to work unless and until they give out those rights. So that was just it. But like what I've said, there were certain things that Brussels was not talking about.
They're not comfortable.
They were not and then, like I said, the average Briton, being who he is, he thinks he's the best, is the first and best of all of us. So he thinks he's a little better than that guy in Finland. He thinks he's just a trifle better than that Belgian. So that's the way they have always thought.
All right.
So they didn't like the arrangement.
All right. Now, in course of the celebration and of course protests, a case of violence. Some of them might into a terrorist attack where someone started shooting and although he was shot and killed by the police. Do you see this violence escalating? Maybe reactions from the immigrants living in the UK, or even others that are in support of the UK in the nearest future?
Of course, the decision came as a result of a referendum, and that's one of the fallouts of democracy. It means that majority would always have their way, and minorities will just have their say, but sometimes their say is never enough. When you even look at the demographics of the votes, aside from the fact that Scotland and Northern Ireland, also you will see that those who mostly voted to leave the EU were mostly elderly people.
Yeah, elderly people, okay.
Yes, they're mostly elderly people.
All right.
And again, lastly, let me state this again. The fact that the UK was not among the original members of the European Commission when it started. So for close to 50 years, the UK played catch up. So they were never at the forefront. So this really, really, really affected them. They were never the actors, so to say, in the European Union film. And so they played catch up until they decided to leave. You know, France and Germany and Belgium called the shots. And this was a big issue for them.
All right, say France, Germany, and Belgium, these guys, they called the shots, and that was like a big issue for them. Now, to call it a wrap, on this discussion because our time is up. You're going to have 1 minute each to summarize your thoughts on Brexit and what next for Britain and EU. Let us start with you, Barrister.
Yes, the world has become a global village, and the Britons, the Englishmen, they should learn this. For centuries after centuries, they appropriated and misappropriated the wealth of the world. There was a time the British Empire, at a time the sun never rises nor sets. It has lashed from the Punjab in India to the valleys of Tanganyika, all the way to Cape Town. That was the empire. They took from the Bengal, from Ghana, everywhere. They took our collective wealth and they built their empire. The time to give us peanut has come, and they're not comfortable with the peanut they are giving. They think their border should be shut from the children and grandchildren of the slaves that built their empire. They don't want to see us. That's what this Brexit is all about. They don't want to see our faces. They are taking all they can take, and now that the taking has stopped, they can no longer come directly to take our oil or take our gold. Now they don't want to see our faces again, my brother. So that's the issue today. That's what Brexit is all about.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Osaho Osazo. I'm speaking from a kind of a venom right now. Against the Britons. Okay, Alex, 1 minute.
No man is an island.
Yeah.
But the Britain is, and the UK is an island. No pun intended. I would say that the mechanisms of the EU, it's now or never. If they continue the way they have been handling these certain issues, impinging on the rights of the sovereign nations and coming unnecessarily overbearing, in no time there will be other exits.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. You've heard them. Nobody gave it to Boris, but he did it. Some are happy, some are not too happy. What do you think about Brexit? Is it going to be the beginning of the end of the UK, or they are going to gain more as they are now independent in court? Bye for now.
This is ITV, certainly the best.